do. So then Danmei obviously can be turned into many different adaptations, and the different adaptations also have different names. So Danmei is usually referred to the genre, which is the novel, and then it can be turned into donghua, manhwas, live actions, and audio dramas. And this is just one example of one Danmei that has all 5 versions, which is the Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, or Modao Zushi.
My favorite.
And you can see how the art style kind of changes between each version as well. So, what are manhwas?
That's donghwas. Donghwas. Okay, so donghwas are basically referring to anime. So it's the Chinese version of Japanese anime. A lot of the animation is very similar, but some of them are made in more of a 3D format. So you'll see with different adaptations, they won't be like traditional animation. Scumvillain, for example, is 3D, so it kind of looks more like a video game, which I feel lends well to that particular story since it's an isekai with like a whole system and everything. But for example, there are some plenty of donghwas, and not all of them are BL. Like Link Click is not actually a BL, though it's kind of questionable.
There's a lot of heavy undertones.
But yes, and of course, Modao Zushi is one of the most popular animes that came out. You can find a lot of it on YouTube. And Link Click is actually on Crunchyroll now, right?
Yeah, Crunchyroll. And then the middle one is called Legend of Exorcism, and you can find that on Netflix.
It's on Netflix now?
Yeah, it's been on Netflix.
I kept seeing it on YouTube. Okay, your turn.
Okay, now it's manhwa time. So manhwas are Chinese comics, and they're equivalent to manga. And the Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation can now be found at Barnes & Noble, which is the one on the left. Heaven's Official Blessing is the one in the middle, and that one can be found on Bilibili Comics, which is a website and an app that you can get on your phone, as well as The Legend of Exorcism, which is on the right. And manhwas can generally be found, some are actually getting published. I know there's a few publishers now doing it, so you can pre-order them right now. A lot of them are on Bilibili Comics. Some of the manhwas on Bilibili Comics are BL, but are not considered Danmei as well.
So for live actions. So live actions are basically exactly what you would think of, like Little Mermaid just got turned into a live action, so it's just real people from the original work. So The Untamed was released on Netflix, and it just kind of blew up, and that's where everyone really discovered Danmei, at least here in the US. Just note that a lot of the live actions, because they're produced and made in China with Chinese actors, they are censored just because of Chinese laws. So they're actually pretty family friendly, and a lot of them are aimed at like teens can watch them. So it's a really good place to start, especially if like you're a younger.
The gayest you get is a really gay stare.
Well, I mean,
in Word of Honor, which is the one on the right-hand side, they literally call each other soulmates.
It's just not exactly soulmates the way we think of it,
Yeah.
but we know what they mean.
It's like bro soulmate.
And really gay stares, and that's
Yeah.
it.
And calling each other's names multiple times while staring into each other's eyes.
I will never get over that scene.
And then there is also audio dramas, which are audio recordings of a script read by voice actors, and these are actually produced in China and Japan, and they both have different names for them. Obviously the Chinese versions are like the live actions where they're heavily centered, more of a bromance, and then the Japanese versions tend to be more of the original storyline and can be more explicit. And here are some Danmei recommendations. There is a Google Doc, which my friends made. If you guys want to take a screenshot of it, I can also send it to you if you guys follow me on my Instagram. And there is now a Danmei News website, which tells you what books are being released, what authors are working on, and where you can find pre-orders and such like that, which is on www.danmeinews.com. And here is a disclaimer, which we've already kind of said. Most adaptations in China have been censored. The original books are targeted towards adult audiences, so parental advisory is, I can't say that word.
PG.
Advisory, there it is. Advisory is recommended for underage readers. And then here are two of my recommendations for Danmei at least. So both can be found at Barnes & Noble. One is Stars of Chaos, which is a newly released Danmei from this year, which is by Priest. Priest is one of the well-known authors, at least in China, and more of their books are getting released. I think Guardian was just put up for pre-order as well. Both of these are produced by Seven Seas Entertainment. And my other one is, of course, Heaven's Official Blessing, which I am cosplaying from today. Heaven's Official Blessing has an anime. I think they're Donghua, they're working, and the manhwa is up on Bilibili, and they're working on a live action right now. Stars of Chaos, because it is so new, it's like ancient China mixed with steampunk, which is very interesting. They'll have a lot of the steampunk elements with like some of the advanced technology, but like still like steam powered. It's very interesting concept how Priest merged those two sections into this book. And there's a lot of like world building in the prologue of Stars of Chaos, and then you get into like the actual story, which is also interesting. Heaven's Official Blessings is is going to be published at 7 books. There is a revised version that MXTX is currently working on as well, which you can find some of those translations for the revised version online. If those are going to be released in English by Seven Seas Entertainment is still unknown.
So for my personal recommendations, both of these, of course, can be found at Barnes & Noble. That's what we wanted to do with these recommendations, so that you can easily just go and get them today if you wanted to. So I picked these just because they're like kind of nice for dipping your toes into the genre. Scum Villain is a really easy one to get into, just because the main character is isekai from our world, and it's all told through his perspective. So it's really easy to relate to like all of the fantasy and historical genres, because you're just ending up getting this weird little shut-ins monologue about how ridiculous this world is and how crazy everyone is. And he's just a fantastic character to read about. So it's very fun. The only thing I will say is that it's pretty tame in the beginning, but just know that it does get a little bit more 18 plus and like the lap in that second half. So that's one thing to note, but the anime is fully like censored. We just don't know if we will actually get a season 2. It's kind of the forgotten child of MXTX. But it's a fun read if you want to give it a chance.
They need to give it a season 2.
What?
They need to give it a season 2. The way it ended?
Yeah.
No.
They kind of do.
Well, to be perfectly honest, even if they did continue it, they're going to have to censor it so hard in that second half, which I don't know what China wants to do. So, yeah. It's okay. We have dedicated fans, and they're making their own manhwa.
Yes, which can be read on Webtoon.
Yeah, there's actually 2. One's on hiatus, it was on Twitter, and one just started on Webtoon. So I'm hoping that they continue it. The other one is Thousand Autumns. So this one is a lot more into like historical fantasy, and one of the neat things about it is that it actually has to do with like historical figures that actually lived in China. So if you know Chinese history, you actually know spoilers for the book. But it's a really fun read. The only thing is that if you're really into the romance, there's not a lot of romance in the book until you get to like the extra chapters, just because it's mainly one-sided. But we all know. I mean, even the characters call them out constantly throughout the book, and it's like, are you sure you're not in that kind of relationship? And he's like, absolutely not. I don't like him.
There's such a loving light.
Exactly. So yeah, those would be my 2. One thing about Thousand Autumns is that while it's not explicit in any way, it is heavily violent. So just know that much.
Are they shipping like historical?
No, they're not. They're original characters.
Okay, I was gonna say, is it like Hamilton?
No, it's like OCs set in a historical timeline.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
kind of like
You said
like Black Butler, how like
Oh,
Queen
yeah.
Victoria's
Yeah,
in
yeah,
it,
yeah.
but like
Okay.
yeah.
That's the perfect combination. They literally help out, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, the one in dark blue, he is like an OC, but he's like the advisor to the emperor, and then it's all about what happens
They're
during
all
that time.
so gorgeous.
Oh yes, they're
Like, all of
all
them.
of yeah.
And all the covers, they're all gorgeous.
Yes.
Everybody in every series in this genre is just dropping
Literally,
Yeah.
bombs. They're all just
Even if we like, even in the modern setting,
Yeah.
because a lot of the modern
The
ones I
guys
see,
are
they're
more
like in full suits, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Oh my gosh, Guardian.
Guardian.
The
I'm so
li-
excited for
in a
Guardian.
fantasy
Okay.
world
Huh?
where men
Live
and
action?
they have to be
Yeah.
beautiful.
That's so real.
Wei Wuxian is prettier than a lot of women, including
Oh,
me.
Oh yeah.
You know what,
Wait,
not-
Live action is
Those Chinese
They-
men, like, damn.
they definitely did good with their casting choices.
Oh, yeah. One more thing about Thousand Autumns, I forgot. If you do want romance, though, watch the anime. For some reason, they went harder with the romance and the undertones in the anime than the actual book did.
They're just like
It's
really
really
big
funny.
shippers, I guess.
They really are.
Yep.
Alright, what's next? Dawnflower recommendations. Is that
Yep.
me?
No, it's me.
Okay,
I think you get 1,000 Autumns.
right.
Yeah. Obviously, we have to recommend the two that are most famous right now, which is Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, which you can subscribe to Tencent on YouTube and pay their like monthly membership fee, which is something like
$4.99.
yeah,
Yeah,
$5,
super cheap.
and then you can watch all 3 seasons.
Actually, wait, it's
Um,
$3.99 unless they upped it.
think
I
it was-
pay for
think- I thought it
I
was
don't know, I have it on automatic.
No, it's $3.99.
$3.99.
$3.99, $4.
Between $4 and $5 a month.
Or you could pirate it.
Or
No.
you can't. There's like a Chinese YouTube website that you can kind of pirate it on, but like
You mean Billy Billy?
no, it's not. Is it Billy?
Because on Billy Billy, I noticed when I went back to watch them, they all got region locked.
Yeah.
Including all of Yuku, which is really
Yeah,
upsetting.
so I'm pretty
now
sure
just like,
how
I
they
think I
worked
might
it
buy
out.
a VPN.
Yeah.
How they worked it out, I'm pretty sure, is if it's on Tencent on YouTube, they've region locked it on Billy Billy.
Oh.
Billy Billy also has like a comic, the manhwa, like site where you can read a bunch of
Do you mind if-
Chinese comics, and then there's also a like YouTube site that you can watch some of their stuff
Okay.
on.
Also, on Tencent, it's $3.99. You're not only getting
Oh, yeah,
these
you're not only getting
three.
MX, you're not only getting
You get
Grandmaster
the
Demonic
entire
Cultivation.
channel, so
They
you
have
get.
they have like live actions of stuff.
They
not
have
just
Korean-
Danmei, They have a bunch of like Chinese.
Yeah.
like,
They
it's,
have
like, a
full on
bunch.
series
Yeah.
of different Korean dramas on there, full on series of animes or whatever the
Yeah, 'cause
Chinese
they have
term.
a lot of stuff on there. Like I think they
It's a
release,
whole
like, something
ass,
like
like-
5
Yeah, yeah.
videos a day or something.
That's cool.
Like I'm always getting notifications that they've updated it.
It's like the Chinese version of Crunchyroll,
yeah.
except for with live action,
Yeah.
like K drama series.
This is
Well, no, because
why-
Crunchyroll also has some live action stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
No,
This
so
is
not
this is
much.
why I love panels. It's just like people talking at me about their special interests. It's so fun. Like, I love it.
And then, of course, there's also Heaven's Official's Blessing, which you can find the sub on Netflix, or you can find the sub and dub on Crunchyroll, which is also how MXPX kind of blew up, is because people were like, what's this thing on Netflix? Because
Yeah.
almost everyone has Netflix.
Yeah.
Or used to pirate Netflix off of somebody else's account before they locked people's accounts from
Yeah.
only one.
Is it Heaven's official blessing or Heaven official's blessing?
It's actually
Heaven
Heaven
Official's Blessing,
but
but
like
everyone messes it up.
I don't think I've met someone who's gotten it right. Like
Yeah, it's
I mess it up
Heaven
all the time, and then I
Official's
looked at my
Blessing.
books and I was like,
Yeah.
oh
Isn't
shoot.
that like grammatically incorrect?
It's like the
It's-
heavenly officials.
Yeah,
blessing.
Heavenly
'Cause they're
Officials.
called the
Oh,
heavenly
oh,
officials.
Yeah.
Everybody
okay.
in heaven is like, it's like a bureaucracy up there.
Yeah,
there's
so-
officials
Good
there.
omen.
So basically, like, very much summarizing, there's the heavens, like there's the heavenly officials, and then there's ghosts, and then there's the humans, and then basically they're all just trying to interact, except my character and this character, I am a ghost, this is a heavenly official, they're in love, yes. Yeah. It's kind of like star-crossed lovers situation, except they're literally like, nah, I don't care about your rules.
That's so real. My favorite
We
genre.
should get summaries of what they are.
Probably.
How would you describe Grandmaster?
Grandmaster is basically
It's like a whodunit.
Really?
It's kind of like it's a murder mystery, but the character that was murdered is also a main character. So he's trying to figure out like
How he
he's
died.
like not trying to figure. He's just happy he's back, and like back alive. But
And he's a
also
lunatic.
Kind of like he's like, I would like to know how all this stuff happened that led up to my death, but like if I don't learn, that's okay. And then another character who you learn at the end is like, I know, and I'm going to use you to figure it out and drag them out because I want them to burn. Basically, it has a very good ending that I do have to say.
Every day means every day.
No, this is not 18 plus.
I know. That's why I just said it and not describe it. It's
Why are you
fun.
staring at me?
Okay, how would I describe Thousand Autumns?
You just kind of did.
Okay, so, well, I'm just like the premise. Thousand Autumns is basically, it starts with the guy in white, Shen Chao, and he basically is like a shut-in peak master of this really high prestigious peak. But then one day, his master's old rival's disciple came and is like, I'm going to challenge you, and then he ends up like losing the fight and falling off a cliff and nearly dying. And then Yang Wuxi, the guy in the back, just walks up and he's like, man, I wanted to see this fight. I've been in isolation for 10 years. What's been going on? Let's get
Where
the
did
deets.
he come from?
He was just walking around this peak and he's like, this might be fun to watch.
Okay.
I really liked his master back in the day, so he just watches him fall from this cliff, and his disciples like, should we help him? Like, I mean, we're like the evil clan, so like we don't have to. And he's like, nah, you know, it'd be really fun. I'm going to heal him. And then when they find, and he's like, I'm going to heal him and get him in my debt. So then when he wakes up, he's got memory loss, and he's like, you know, it'd be funnier. What if I decide to trick him into thinking he's an evil clan and make him as evil and just depressed as possible? So that's what he does.
Oh my
And of course,
God.
Shen Chao doesn't do that. So it's just them fighting all the time over their morals. And Shen Chao's like, no, there's good in the world. And Yang Wuxi's like, there's not.
Is this like
So to your question about the fight, have you ever just like been at a high school schoolyard and you just see someone starting to fight? It's the same thing. You're like, oh, what's going on over there? What did I miss? I just came out of second period.
Dude, I don't know how many times people just break out into fights and everyone's just like, I want to watch.
It's
Yeah.
basically high school.
It's like so many times in Thousand Autumns. They're just like,
But, like,
oh, these guys are fighting, let's go watch.
that doesn't sound very romantic.
That's why the romance happens at the end.
It becomes romantic.
Yeah.
Because they said it wasn't very romantic.
Well,
in,
yeah.
Well,
like,
I mean, if you're stuck with this guy, it's
like
like
a
months
lot-
on
it's a
end,
lot
you
of
start to get to
build-up.
know them, and you start to see
Stockholm
their good
syndrome?
parts. Maybe a little.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
It's questionable.
Questionable, like if Stockholm syndrome is the Beauty and the Beast.
It's Stockholm syndrome, but at least our Belle can hold his own. All right.
Alright, and here are some Monwood recommendations, which you can all find on Billy Comics. So first up is Heaven Official's Blessing, which of course we've been repping this entire time.
Yeah.
Then there's also Global Examination, which is kind of the example of like modern that we were talking about. How do I describe this? So basically, it's like an alternate universe where this organization can just like kind of kidnap people and set them through trials. And in the trials, you can die.
Tell me about that.
Not that kind of try.
Yeah. And not that kind of trial, because it's just kind of like a random group of people, they bring them all together, and then they're like, hey, you guys have to figure out this puzzle. But like, if you don't figure, yeah, kind of like Saw. If you don't figure it out, you die, and you can't move on to the next puzzle. And once you complete all of our puzzles, you get to leave. And there's always one person, which is the guy in black, that has to overwatch the trials to see and to like give out points and stuff. And so the dude in white is one of the people that is taking the trials, and so Yeah.
And then they kiss.
You really wish they would.
All of these.
Yeah.
They all look like they're about to kiss.
So if you want something that's very heavily focused on
China.
the romance, you will
Still
definitely
homophobic.
like Those Years
Oh, yeah.
in
You
Quest
get
of
as
Honor
close
Mine,
to a gay stare.
which the premise of Those Years in Quest of Honor Mine is basically the guy. It's a name. The guy in bluish white basically was in in like the king's court. Something happened. They haven't fully explained it yet, and he had to flee to another prince. Is realm, I guess, to not be killed.
Yeah.
And then that prince is required by the king to go back to where he is, so he's obviously dragged by the prince to that original area. And the guy in black is another like unofficial prince, and he with the guy in white used to like play around with stuff, not that kind of play around when they were children. With like when they were children, and so he sees him again, he's like, oh my god, and just kind of kidnaps him.
Okay.
Because he's like, I don't want to lose you again, and I know you'll flee. And he's
That's
like, you're right. And then since he's like kind of kidnapped in his home, he just starts being very kind of explicit in nature, trying to get him to stay around to get information out of him. And so
What?
For explanation with them, like it's mostly joking, but it's kind of funny. In one scene, the guy in white is just like, he's like, where is he? And his like servants and stuff are like, oh, he had to like run out for a bit. And he's just like, I want him back now. Tell him I'm pregnant. And so then the servant goes to where the guy in black is, who's like in a meeting with like a bunch of court officials.
Oh,
and he's like,
no.
yeah, the dude that's in your house is pregnant, to everyone. So it's super cute. There's a little bit of drama.
Yeah.
And then of course there's Legend of Exorcism. Legend of Exorcism is a little interesting. So the kid in white and green is actually your main character, and he's coming down from what he thinks is like a heavenly realm, and meets this guy in black, and the guy, he kind of pisses off the guy in black because he obviously doesn't know human ways, and then he has a mission sent from him, and he kind of learns that he's actually a demon.
Oh.
But he's trying to do good in the world and stuff like that, and complete his mission so that he can find out information about his parents.
The global examination looks like omniscient reader's viewpoint. Like the
Yeah, it is. So, most of these are omniscient viewpoints for manhwas. In heaven, you kind of get Shilian's like thoughts coming through, like the Danmeis.
It's a webtoon. This is the name of a webtoon.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's kind of, but like for like third person view for most of these.
Yeah.
Because some webtoons are like you're in their thoughts in their heads,
Yeah.
and in most of these you're just like kind of an outsider looking in. Yeah. My bad. Do you want to talk about Word of Honor? I will talk all day about Word of Honor. All right, so Word of Honor is on Netflix as well as The Untamed. Word of Honor is both, yeah. Word of Honor and The Untamed are complete on Netflix. You do have to watch them in sub because there's no dubbing live action
I don't
really.
watch dub anyways.
So Word of Honor is by Priest, which is the person who wrote Stars of Chaos and Guardian, which will be coming out. So Word of Honor. This is the one where we were talking about how they call each other soulmates. So, and they get away with it.
Get away.
Like they
And
get
it's
away with
China.
like in
China
Chinese
doesn't
assault.
arrest them.
Yeah.
And
And
a running joke is that when these three came out, Guardian came out first, and it was just like a bromance. Not very many undertones. A lot of people argued that it was straight, and they were like, "Look at the source material; it's not." And then Untamed happened,
and Untamed was like kind of like walking with some speed.
Yeah.
Like they got places to go.
Yeah.
Word of Honor like took that speed and ran a marathon with like how the censorship is, because like even in The Untamed, like they kind of have like female characters that you could ship with them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Word
they
of
added,
honor,
like,
there
Jung
is
Chan's whole
none.
ship,
Word
which
of
did
honor,
not
there's just
exist.
no-
There is no one else to ship these two characters with. It's just them.
Yeah.
And they call each other soulmates. So Word of Honor, there's like, it's very interesting because watching it, they have, there's this like, kind of this kingdom, and they're called ghosts, but they're not actually dead people. There's people whose lives were like ruined, or they're supposed to be dead, and they fled to this other kingdom.
Oh, yes.
So like, they're dead to everybody else.
Right. Like they.
But they're
don't-
still alive.
They don't have a life.
And the ghosts are quite violent. This is actually a very violent series when you like think about it.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it is. They have a lot of humor in between all the violence.
I like that.
Yeah. And so, yeah, your main character is the guy in blue with the sword, and then the love interest is the one in red. And they don't actually wear I think they wear those outfits for like 2 episodes.
Yeah.
They change outfits a lot in this.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, not their wedding, when they attended a wedding.
Yeah, I think it is the wedding outfits, yeah.
Actually, it is their wedding. They're married because I said so.
It's
Well, if they were married, they'd both be in red.
yeah.
Wait, which ones were their wedding outfits?
So the blue and red, it's not their wedding, but they were attending a wedding.
Oh.
Yeah.
And the guy in red is technically the father of the bride that was getting married, so that's why he's also in red. So, yeah.
That's a spoiler for me.
Is it?
I did not know the one in red had a daughter.
It's
Yeah, you
meet
meet
her
her. You
already.
meet her immediately.
she's the girl in purple.
Yeah.
Oh! I thought that was his servant.
Well,
It's like servant.
Daughter.
I
He
mean,
like
he's
takes.
known her since she was a child, so she's
yeah.
like a pseudo father
Wait,
figure.
adopted
Pseudo-father.
or biological?
Adopted.
Okay.
It's like kind of like father-brother figure.
That's where I was like confused. I'm like, I thought she was like a servant, a longtime friend, and like,
Here,
I didn't
about
think
it
they were
this
blood,
way.
so-
Naruto
He's like-
spoilers, but like when Naruto picked Iruka to walk him down the aisle, kind of like that. It's like Naruto's dad is obviously dead, so he can't walk him down the aisle. So who's he gonna pick?
Isn't that Boruto?
Boruto is Naruto's son.
No, I know, but like, isn't that in Boruto? I don't remember him getting married.
That might be a Boruto. I don't know.
When he gets married.
I don't know.
No, it's the very last episode of Naruto.
Wow, that is
Oh,
a spoiler
that's
then.
Oh my god, it came out years ago.
I gave it the 3-episode
Everyone
try.
knows. Everyone
I
knows.
watched all of Naruto. I hated it.
It's not for everybody.
I'm a
It's
One
not
Piece
for
fan.
everybody.
I mean, it's heavily shonen, so unless you don't like shonen, you're never gonna like
Yeah.
Naruto. It's
So
like,
the Untamed is based off of
Madazushi.
Modazushi. Word of Honor is based off of Faraway Wanderers is the original title
by priest.
by Priest, which I think you can read if you Google Faraway Wanderers English, you can find someone who has translated it
It's probably on the dock.
as a Word doc. I think it is on the doc. And there has been rumors that it has been licensed to be printed in English in the United States. There hasn't been an official release date though. Modazushi is the Untamed, written by MXTX. Same premise as what we've been talking about. With them, they had to cut some things out of the plot and then they changed things to the plot, so it's not an exact
Replica.
replica, obviously, because also there's no romance. So there's like it was a very well done how they sped it up, but if you like watch that first and then go to reading it and you're like, I do not remember that happening in the Untamed, it's because they took some things out as well. And I think that's all should I add anything else for the Untamed?
I don't know. It's fine.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Wei Wuxian is
Get
the
into
best
spoilers.
character.
Huh?
Wei Wuxian is the best character.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Yes,
Yes!
I will forever be a Zhang Shen stan.
I didn't know.
And I recommend do not follow my path. It's painful.
You're special.
I'm kind of scared.
It's okay. He's not very likable, so it's very unlikely that you will like him. But I still love him.
Nia is special.
Okay. Well, I'm a little upset because like when I started watching it, it was on YouTube and it was subbed, and then like when I went back to continue watching it, they were like, oh no, it's region locked now. You have to go watch it on Youku. So then I went and I got Youku, and they were like, okay, but you can only get these 2 episodes, and now you have to pay for the VIP. And I was like, I want to watch it.
Yeah, you should
These,
just get
these
a
first
VPN.
2 episodes are good, and then they were just like, so if you want to buy this, you have to live in China. And I'm just like,
Just get a VPN at this point.
There are
I
free
will. But like, so from what I know,
Get
this one
North
is also modern day, kind of like that, because the
Yeah.
guy in the glasses works as a professor at a university, and then the guy with the beard is basically like a detective, but like a supernatural detective.
Yeah, so basically all modern stuff still has some supernatural element to it, which makes it fall into the 2 original genres of Danmei, but like it's very
Everything
interesting.
takes place like nowadays.
You
Yeah.
guys are now talking about Guardian, right?
Yes, this
Yes,
is
Guardian.
You did not clarify that.
I thought
Sorry.
you did.
How have I never heard of Danmei? Like, this is such a niche thing.
It very recently actually started being like
Like,
published,
in the US.
Like, well
like
known.
have official translations in the United States. I think
It kind
Heaven
of blew up
Official
during the
Blessings
pandemic.
I think came out 2020.
I wanna say
it got-
2021.
Guardian was, like produced in 2018. and
Yeah.
Untamed was like during the pandemic.
Yeah, Untamed was came out during the pandemic. Word of Honor came out last year.
Yeah.
Wow, like last 5 years kind of recent.
Yeah, it was like very recent, and then like they all kind of recently got put onto Netflix too. Like within like the last 2 years, it was all kind of pushed onto Netflix. I've seen people cosplay. Like I like started seeing people cosplay it like at Sabo in 2021, and I was just like,
I think I did too.
Yeah, and I was just like, who are you
Yeah,
cosplaying?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I like your fit, dog.
Yeah. I always see those butterfly clips on that exact character.
Right.
He's very popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a great character.
Sexy Ghost
He's
King.
so pretty.
So
But I mean, even Danmei itself is
Yeah.
fairly new as a genre, just because it didn't become a thing until Japanese BL made it into China, and then like people started writing a bunch of like their own BL.
Sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
The history video I sent you.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
only
it was-
watched half
I think
of
it
that.
happened in like the 90s or something. It was
Yeah.
very recent.
Yeah.
But then once they started doing that, of course, everyone got shut down, and it became like an
Right.
underground thing where it's like, oh, you have to prove you're a Danmei fan to join our cult, and then we'll share our books with you.
Yeah,
What's
and
his middle name?
even in
Yeah.
like, hello? It's fine. We're going to ignore that. Even in like China and stuff, you can't like you can buy official copies, but they're heavily censored and stuff, kind of like the live actions.
Yeah.
But like you can buy stuff in like Thailand, and like they're pretty fairly well produced in like Thailand and Japan as well, which is obviously
so beautiful.
and the Korean ones, yeah.
Yeah.
So like it's translated. There's fan translations that you can read. So yeah, and I think most of the fan translations are pretty good from what I've read and
Yeah.
seen.
Some of them are machine translated, so they are like Google translations.
Yeah.
They're still readable because a lot of people will go in and edit it.
Right.
But I mean, like one of the things I've noticed when I've been reading my Husky translations, constantly it's using the she pronoun for Chu Onion, and I'm just like, I know he's not a she, but okay. It's like, I know who you're talking about. It's
There's
Yeah.
only
fine.
one third person pronoun in Chinese.
Yeah.
That's what I figured. I was like, there must just not be a pronoun. I was like,
Yeah.
it's fine.
It's one word for both he and she in Chinese.
Oh, interesting.
Oh,
That's why
another
that
thing,
happens.
Thousand Autumns, like all the names were translated in the book, and then I went to the translations, and they were all translated differently. So I was just like, what was this clan's name in this translation?
Yeah, so right now you can actually buy, I think like 7 in Barnes and Noble. Like if you go to a Barnes and Noble, you can probably find 7 different titles.
No, yeah, I've seen a lot of these.
Yeah, and so
It's like
it's
all three
it's
MX.
growing very quickly.
It is. It is.
Yeah, 3 of
This
them are
is,
CX. And then there's
two
two
from
from
Meat Bun.
one by Priest,
One by Priest.
and then isn't there another one? So 6.
Yeah, Thousand Autumns is
Yeah, that was
Men
another.
She She.
Yeah, so 6 right now.
I have. a
And then
kind
I
of-
think Guardian is.
Guardian's coming out.
Yeah.
I have a kind of off-topic question.
Yes.
If that's okay. What is the scariest, like most problematic, worrying cosplay you've seen?
So a lot of people confuse what we are wearing
Mm-hmm.
as kimonos. They are because it's not it's not Japanese wear,
Right,
it's
right.
Chinese wear. It has a
Right.
different name, which is hanfu. There are many
Yeah,
different
yeah.
types of hanfu. most for these series, they're using a mix of a lot of different eras of Hanfu, which is like kind of known as fantasy Hanfu, because it's taken from the historical context, but it's not actual historical clothing.
Right.
I think most of them would call it wuxia style.
Yeah, wuxia style.
Where it's like most of the time, if you're really into Hanfu, you go by like, I really like the Ming Dynasty, or I really like the Han Dynasty style.
Yeah.
Which is just correlating to time periods based off emperors and stuff.
Yeah, which is a very weird side tangent. So the like periods in China, how they're all named after who the emperor is. And if you look at Chinese history, it's all done by that. If you look at Japanese history, it's all done by periods, because they're all technically still under the same original ruling family. Yeah, that's why that's different. Very off topic. Yeah, what's our next one?
I think it's
I think it's sources, which is
that's
yeah.
yeah.
So you have any questions about anything else? Yeah, we can just go to the front.
How did you both get into Danmei?
I literally was bored on Netflix, and I was like, what is this? And then I watched it, and I was like, oh my god, I need to see more. And then The Untamed was recommended like immediately after, because Netflix recognized that it's by the.
Wait, which one did you watch first?
I watched Heaven, Official's Blessing, and then I watched The Untamed, and then I looked it up online and saw that it was on YouTube. And then slowly dove headfirst off a cliff into the rest of it.
That's so real.
If you want to keep continuing writing, yeah.
Yeah, for me, it was actually this one recording right here. She came over to my house and was like, oh, I'm really into this show called Moda Sushi. And so she's like, we're going to watch it today. So she just puts it on, and I'm just like, I guess this is what we're watching.
Corruption.
And I basically was hooked from there. Of course, I made the wrong choice and fell in love with the purple guy with the lightning whip.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
He shows up in like the first episode. I love him.
I did her a favor, got her introduced to this beautiful world, and then she betrayed me.
Yeah. So basically, I just started watching Moda Sushi, and then from there, when Heaven's Official was released on Netflix, she did the same thing, came over, put it on, we watched through all of it, and then I realized, I was like, oh, these are books. And so I was like, oh, I want to go read a book. So I went to Barnes & Noble, and I got a book, and I just basically binged it. Yeah, actually.
You binge a book?
Okay,
Yeah,
so
you just kind of sit down and
we were
read
going to
through
do
all
a
of it.
panel. And so I was like, I need to get to know these books. And then she's like, oh yeah, there's Scumvillain. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll watch like the first episode of Scumvillain so I know a little bit about it. Binged it that whole night.
That's so real.
It's only 10 episodes, so it was fine. And then from there I was like, I'm in love with these characters. I need to cosplay Shen Qing Cho. So I went, bought the book, binged it, had to go buy the second book, ended up buying all 4 of the books.
Yeah, recommendation
Just
is
binge that, and then from then on, I just keep buying books. and
Yeah.
books. So I've already read the entirety of Thousand Autumns because I couldn't wait for Barnes & Noble to continue publishing that. It's all translated online, and now I'm currently going through Husky and then the sequel to Thousand Autumns, Peerless.
Oh yeah. So yeah,
It's bad.
yeah, recommendation if you're gonna be buying Danmei books in Barnes & Noble, just buy everything that you see, because you're going to be really upset if you don't just have the continuation right there in your hands. You're gonna be like, I need to read it now.
Just pick one series at a time, though. It's really hard to juggle.
It is hard to juggle. It's also kind of hard to get used to getting used to like the names of places and stuff like that when you first start reading it, because I got confused on characters. I still get confused on characters. Like Lian's 2 friends that fight all the time, I still don't know. I know their names, but I cannot tell you which one was which.
I can't tell you their real names, but it's Fu Yao and
Like the 2 soldier guys?
Nanfeng.
Yeah, the 2 soldier guys, yeah.
Yeah.
Fu Yao
I'm
is
like-
the best boy.
I would have to like go back and like look at where they were introduced.
Right,
I
yeah,
okay,
I was just
this
like,
one's
I'm like,
this,
huh?
and this one's like this personality, and then like I tried to read, I'm like, oh wait, I gotta go back to that page where they're introduced.
Also,
Yeah.
I know. Fu Yao is the blue one.
in
He's
Moto
sad.
Zushi,
Mhm.
one person can have 3 names. They have their title, they have their courtesy name that everyone calls them, but so they're not calling their actual name, and then they have their actual name.
Yeah, that's
3
That's happened in a few.
names.
Yeah,
I
that
still
happens
can't
in-
get used to this.
One person.
Yeah, that happens in a few of them. So it's very interesting.
I feel like once you get like
You get used to
you
it.
get used to who they're referring to, even if
Yeah.
you can't remember them all and say them yourself. It's like when you hear it, you know who it is.
Yeah. Any other questions?
What's your favorite ship?
No.
Favorite ship?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hard.
Favorite ship?
Well, pick a book.
Does it have to be canon or can we do non-canon?
Both.
I'm in brain rot.
Love
I'm in
it.
brain rot right now. I love Beef Leaf, which I know is not a good ship, which is Windmaster in Blackwater from Heaven. So yeah, is it canon? Oh no, it is canon because they had those figures come out before the acrylic stand come out before they had to change the acrylic stand, but they were holding hands in the original version.
Oh, toxic.
I
only like toxic. You cannot speak. I mean, I've been reading Husky and my favorite character is Moran, so that already says my taste there.
Yeah, it does.
I think I'll pick the current one I'm wearing, Bing Han Shenxing Cho.
Which is
I will
also
not
toxic.
abide by everyone shipping Shenxing Cho with everybody else, even though I can see it. I can see it.
Yeah, but also my favorite chick will change, like what the phase of the moon is. It's whatever my brain decides is what I want to binge that week.
Ooh, one bonus. There is a secondary couple in Scumvillain, but you don't get the actual love story with them until the extra chapters. It's nice. It's cute though.
I know it's cute. So yeah. Any other questions?
I will watch all of that.
Yay.
What are you gonna start
all
with?
of that.
You may see some of them referred to as like she says like Heaven Official's Blessing like throughout the presentation. Then you also online may see it abbreviated of what
As
they call it.
TGCF.
Yeah, of the original Chinese title, which is Tianguan Sifu. So people say like TGCF, or
Nice
they'll
job.
say
Yeah.
the English the English like translation of that like title, which is Heaven Official's Blessing.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of acronyms that go into Danmei. Like all the characters tend to have acronyms for their name. Like Shenxing Cho is SQQ, Lu Binghan is like LBH. So you'll see that a lot on the internet.
Because they all
And
have
then-
like long names.
Shi Lian is XL, which is
Yeah, she
XL.
yeah, it's XL.
Itty bitty.
Lian.
Yeah, which like Shi Lian, I feel like they don't really need to abbreviate, but
It's fine.
Two syllables.
yeah, it's just 2 syllables.
But now it's 2 letters.
I think that's it over there.
Huh?
That
There-
is my phone.
Phone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow you guys, and then if I end up getting extremely absorbed into
Is that your game too?
I will. Yes.
Yeah, we will have an MXTX 18 Plus panel, 9-1 at Sabo,
I don't
8:30.
know. Yeah, 8:30 to 9:30.
9:30.
I don't know
They
if
like
any of you guys
ITU.
are.
But we'll
They
be.
will aid you, yes.
No, I'm.
Then you can go, and we'll have candy and stickers.
Well,
That's the
there.
Friday,
I'm
right?
going
We
to
also have
also
stickers
try
here
to
if you guys
run.
want.
Yeah, if you guys want stickers, we have some up there. If you ask us, we can tell you which series it is.
Yeah. So this one is Scumvillain.
We
and then
might
Rodao
also
Sushi,
try to run
Heaven
the
Officials,
intro
and
to
then this one
Danmei
is Husky, which we
as
didn't talk
well.
about because it's
More explicit.
very. I cannot, in good conscience, recommend Husky to anybody under the age of 18.
I'm definitely.
I can. You should
Yeah,
read
read fun in
Husky.
general. Any of
Yeah.
her works.
Yeah.
Looks like the most.
That's her.
That's
Yeah.
me. It's
So
very fun.
yeah, and then
It's basically just Shenxing Show complaining about the world all the time and making fun of things.
it's really funny. What else?